Welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. Today we're going to do a treat. We are going to do a pellet grill skillet cookie. Let's get at it. All you're really going to need to make this pellet grill skillet cookie is a well-seasoned cast iron pan. This is a 12-inch cast iron pan that's well-seasoned. So you're going to need one of those, and then you're going to need either a KitchenAid mixer or just a hand mixer. That'll work. So the first thing that we're going to do to get this cookie going is we are going to take 1 stick of butter. If you take it out of the fridge, put it in the microwave for 10 seconds to soften it up. And then I'm going to use the paddle attachment here on my KitchenAid and just whip that butter up for just a few seconds. Alrighty, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3/4 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of regular sugar, and then put that in the mixer and let that get mixed up. That's just going to take a few seconds here. All right. Now I'm going to take my spatula and scrape the sides here and the bottom. Make sure we get all that butter in there. Now I'm going to get a few other ingredients back together and we'll finish the recipe. See you in a second. All right, we have our butter and our sugars mixed up there in the blender. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk, put that in there. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This is going to be a chocolate chip skillet cookie. You can use either milk chocolate chips or semi-sweet. I'm using semi-sweet today. And now we're going to mix the eggs and the vanilla in with the sugar and the butter. Just take a few seconds here. Once that gets all mixed up, you're going to want to scrape the sides again. That looks pretty good. You got to scrape the sides a few times here, especially on these KitchenAids, because sometimes they don't get all the way down to the bottom, even if you have them adjusted correctly. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now the next thing I need to do is get my dry ingredients together and make up this cookie batter. All right, let's add our dry ingredients to this batter. I'm going to take 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Put that in there. A half a teaspoon of baking powder. A half a teaspoon of baking soda. A teaspoon of table salt. I always use table salt when I'm baking and kosher salt when I'm doing meats. And then we're going to mix this up on very low speed so we don't have a flour storm here in the kitchen. And that will take about a minute for it to firm up here, where you can speed the blender up just a little bit. All right, that's looking pretty good. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is take 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Like I said, you can do milk chocolate or semi-sweet, or you can do a mix, whichever you like. I just happen to have semi-sweet on hand today. And then mix it up. And we're good to go. The last thing we need to do now is put it in the pan and get it ready to go in the smoker. I said earlier you're going to need a seasoned cast iron pan. What I mean by that is if it's your grandma's or your mom's or whatever else, that it hasn't been sitting in a cupboard for 25 years and hasn't had any vegetable oil or Crisco or anything in the pan. So you may want to make sure it's not rusty or anything like that. And I always keep a real light coat of Crisco on my cast iron pans all the time to keep them from getting rusty. Now, before we put the cookie dough in the pan here, I'm just going to take a tab of butter and rub that all around inside the pan with a paper towel. Make sure you get the edges a little bit too, because the cookie's going to come up on the sides a little bit, and we want to make it easy to get out of here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to take this batter and dump it all into the cast iron pan. And I just work this with my hands just to try to get a even layer of dough or batter all the way around in the pan. Doesn't have to be fancy. And while I'm doing this, I have my smoker warming up to 350 degrees. I'm just doing it on the pellet grill today. That's all there is to it. Just put that in there, try to make a nice smooth even layer. I'm going to put it on the pellet grill. Let's head out there and do it. All right, I have my smoker warmed up to 350 degrees. It doesn't matter what type of pellets you're going to use, because at that temperature you're baking only, and it's not about the smoke anyway. So don't worry about what type of pellets you have. You can also cook this in the oven at 350 degrees, but it's going to take a lot less time in the oven, somewhere between like 25 and 28 minutes. On the pellet grill, it's going to take between 30 and 35 minutes. So let's go ahead and get it on there. We'll see you in about a half hour. All right, it's been 35 minutes, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I want to see how oh, nice. It's still a little soft. Looks and just smells fantastic. Okay, the key thing here, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to let it rest for about 10 or 15 minutes on the counter. And then I'm going to take it out of the pan, because these cast iron skillets hold heat so well that it'll just continue to cook in the pan. So after about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to take it out of the pan. We'll see you then. We've been letting it cool for 15 minutes on the counter now. The pan is still really hot. Like I said earlier, if you leave it in there, it's just going to keep on cooking. We're just trying to get it to cool off enough that we can work with it. So the easiest way I found to get this out is just to kind of cut it in half with a spatula. I'm using a fish spatula here. And then I just kind of work around the side like so and pull it out. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a little taste here. Nice. So you can see that it's still very tender. Is that right? Tender? Soft? And it has a nice crispy exterior from the butter that we put in the pan. That does not suck. In fact, that's a little bit naughty. That's very, very good. Super easy recipe. Remember, anytime you're above 250 degrees on the pellet smoker, you're just cooking, so you're not smoking. So it just works like an oven. Easy way, easy recipe. You can do it with the kids. It's a nice, fun summertime treat that you can do on the pellet grill, and it's super, super easy. We're going to be doing a whole bunch more videos. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. Make sure you give us a like and make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. And until we do, make sure you give us a like and make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be doing a whole bunch more videos soon. Until I see you next time, watch me work, baby. Watch me work.